Strangerville is a quiet little town with a strange problem. The residents are very friendly, but at night, things start to get a little more interesting. If you want to find out more about this town, you can find military personnel hanging out at the local sports bar, scientists researching at the local library, and that curio shop stand is sure to have some strange odds and ends by the trailer park. What's up guys, Rakowski here, and today we're taking a deep dive into Strangerville and examining some arguments that it is in fact the best game pack for The Sims 4. This video is intended to highlight specific strengths of Strangerville in comparison to other game packs in The Sims 4, but is ultimately a product of personal opinion. So if you prefer a different Sims 4 game pack, that is totally fine. Unless you choose Outdoor Retreat, then you may very well have some valid counterpoints as well. Also, you can expect this video will naturally contain spoilers for the pack, so feel free to skip this one if you want to play through on your own first. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Simmers who were introduced to the franchise in The Sims 4 may not even notice, but fans of the older games will be stunned at the lack of lore and backstory in much of The Sims 4's content. Previous games have given us rich stories, complete with evidence in The Sims' histories and other details that are nearly non-existent nowadays. Strangerville was the first Sims 4 pack to introduce a compelling narrative, without its concept restricted to a text box and your imagination. The game actually has some strange things going on, as well as a real, tangible threat on the secret lot. As you load the game, you see weird Sims twitching around the neighborhood, and you hear gossip about the strange things happening from other households and NPCs. As you play through, vines infest your home, you discover different sides of the story, and you get swept into the narrative just by doing some basic social interactions that you'd probably be doing anyway. For the most part, the lore offered in The Sims 4 up until this point, and even after, quite frankly, really only exists in the lot and sim descriptions, usually with either a lackluster backstory or something interesting, but it doesn't actually exist within the real game. Strangerville is the largest world we've ever seen from a game pack, including 12 lots. By comparison, some game packs don't come with worlds at all, and a few game pack worlds have as little as 5 lots. When compared to expansion pack worlds, Strangerville holds its own as well, and with its larger size and strong sense of style, it's arguably the best world in the game. Once you complete the story, you're left with a lore-driven, engaging desert that you can customize and evolve how you wish. Of course, retro simmers are used to EA's prominent use of orange and green, just look at any Sunset Valley house, but the map of Strangerville finally uses these colors in a cohesive and beautiful way. In addition, the gorgeous neon palette of the flora also pairs excellently with the overworld landscaping and the metallic futuristic secret lab. As we all know, the biggest strength of The Sims 4 as a whole is the build and buy mode. Simmers are able to create beautiful homes with countless purchasable packs, but not all DLC is created equal in this regard. If you believe that the season's expansion pack is worth $54.99 for some giant ugly white suburban windows, then you're gonna be blown away by the selections in Strangerville. Most Sims 4 packs tend to just include the same buy mode stuff in slightly different styles. However, Strangerville opted to focus on a solid, cohesive set of build objects, making stylish Victorian homes possible for the very first time in The Sims 4. The windows, doors, fences, and roof decorations are on a level of quality that we rarely see these days, and they include enough variety to make sure you have all the things you'll need. The colors are bold and stunning for the most part, with a couple neutral options if you need them. As a whole, The Sims 4 is known for its horrendous build-buy colors, so if you're in the mood to make a giant red and yellow house and not have it look ugly, then Strangerville may be the pack for you. A common criticism of The Sims 4 Strangerville is that the gameplay is linear and unrepeatable, but there are a few things that seem to get overlooked. At first, the objectives seem straightforward. However, there are several ways to approach them in many cases. Depending on how you play The Sims, you can progress by utilizing different gameplay features, and in fact, you can progress with the story concurrently as you attempt to achieve a successful and prosperous household. For example, to obtain a special item like the key card or the spore scanner, the game encourages you to befriend a scientist. However, you can instead choose to impress them with your career or skills. If you join the military career and got your fitness skill up a few points, then some of these objectives can be easily completed without a tedious queue of social interactions. We already discussed how Strangerville is potentially the best world offered in a game pack, but we haven't yet discussed how the world affects actual gameplay. If you choose to complete only half of the story, your Sims can live in a creepy, spore-infested desert world to add an extra challenge. Although it's not a logical purchase, if you're like millions of Simmers, like me, who already wasted money on Get to Work, then Aliens can be a nice addition to this style of play as well. As a side note for gameplay, Strangerville is the only game pack that came with a career, besides Dream Home Decorator. That still doesn't work properly. A popular opinion by retro simmers is that over time, the quality of sound and music scores has slowly deteriorated in the franchise. However, there are clear exceptions to this trend, and Strangerville is perhaps the most overlooked. Even as you load into different chapters of the story, the bland base game intro music is replaced with an abrupt flourish of sharp strings, indicating that you are in a greater sense of danger or peril. The new sound effects are also a pleasant surprise, from the gurgling of the ravenous mother plant to the retro beeping and buzzing of the spore scanner. Ambience also received a great deal of attention, with eerie background sounds that set the tone for whichever part of the story you're currently playing. Perhaps another controversial argument, but when you look at the other game packs and even The Sims 4 as a whole, EA is not known for the beauty of its architecture. To preface, the builds in Realm of Magic, for example, are hideous 3-story eyesores with no sense of style, aesthetic, or direction, and one even has a porch to nothing. Even packs such as Parenthood that don't come with worlds, they'll sometimes include a giant green family house for you to enjoy, riddled with glitches and incomplete rooms. Strangerville comes with a couple normal/ugly EA-style houses at one end of the map, but it includes a funky trailer lot and an underground bunker beneath a plane crash as well. These two builds are highly creative, and unlike anything we've seen in any of The Sims 4's DLC. This gives players the option of starting a more traditional or more immersive home if they don't want to build their own. In the more affluent neighborhood, there are giant empty Victorian mansions, and although these are popular for renovating and furnishing and roasting, the shells themselves aren't actually that bad. Kitchens are at the back of the house, they have wraparound porches, extra rooms, and the brass color choices are all realistic features of wealthy Victorian residences. The Roswell house has a creepy basement as well, containing evidence that may help you in your search for the truth. As a fun detail, you may hear of the townie Sims keeping an eye on the situation from their homes, and if you pay attention, all of the towers in the mansions are indeed facing out over the cliffs, looking out in many directions to spot any potential incoming threat. It would be untruthful to praise the color choices of the Sims team in most circumstances, but one look at the color palette of Strangerville is enough to get your creative juices flowing. This rare exception starts with the map and the world itself. The deep orange of the bedrock and the lush green of the grass are an exquisite combination, especially with the relentless purple and fuchsia alien plants littered around. Briefly touched on before, but the build mode also has some color options that, on paper, sound like a disaster, but in reality are a stunning realization of style. The columns, windows, doors, and railings all match, and include strong options in red, yellow, blue, pink, and yes, even the two greens are kinda nice. These also seem to go really well with the usable base game textures, so making a palatable, colorful house is now achievable without any additional DLC. Before the rich world of stunning 3D graphics, Simmers used to rely on the creative writing prowess of Maxis to immerse themselves in an imperfect world. From build-buy mode descriptions to creepy phone calls, the original Sims game gave us chills with abrupt, creepy prose at the most unexpected of times. The Sims 4 as a whole has gone for a more child-friendly and goofy direction when it comes to their subtext, everywhere except for Strangerville, that is. For example, even before the game loads, you are greeted with a terrifying message from the mother plant that resistance is indeed futile. Once playing, you'll find engaging with possessed Sims will never be a comforting experience. The typeface or letters and characters that they use for the mother plant and for the possessed Sims also is creepy in and of itself. A common criticism of Strangerville is that it only takes a few hours to complete. Although that's true, if you compare it to other game packs content, a few hours of gameplay is actually a blessing. The purpose of having a game pack is to add a journey for your Sims to take in their life, whether that's a vacation, having a baby, becoming a vampire, or in this case, destroying the mother plant and saving the town of Strangerville. It's difficult to judge how much gameplay you actually get in a game pack since you arguably use all of them perpetually if you integrate them with your game. However, the Strangerville game pack contains several acts in the story. Completing each objective takes some time, but usually isn't that tedious, since we already discussed that some objectives can be approached in more than one way. For many players, they rushed through the story as quickly as possible. However, if you choose to play it concurrently with a regular small household, you'll find many of the tasks integrate perfectly with regular gameplay, since you need relationships, skills, and a career anyway. For a final point, it wouldn't be a Rakowski video without pointing out that content from The Sims 4 is notoriously broken and unpolished. Some game packs, such as Dine Out, have had core problems for years that remain unaddressed to this day. However, at the risk of breaking the fourth wall, I want to mention I played through the entire Strangerville game pack in preparation for this video, just using the base game and the game pack. I encountered no problems besides typical Sims 4 simulation lag, and it wasn't even that bad. Everything worked, all objectives functioned as expected, nothing seemed either too easy or too tedious, which is really rare for The Sims 4. Even without mods or CC, the experience was super smooth. It's sad that we have to consider this a benefit, but the fact that Strangerville works without modding the hell out of it is, in my opinion, argument enough that it is indeed the best game pack for The Sims 4. Well, that concludes my nonsense argument that Strangerville is the best game pack for The Sims 4. Let me know, what is your favorite game pack? I also enjoyed Spa Day and Parenthood, and sometimes Building with Vampires, but for me, Strangerville is still the best. Of course, this is just my opinion, but I never heard anyone else feel the same, so I'm just curious if there's any other Strangerville lovers out there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, and if you like The Sims but not EA, then you should probably hit the subscribe button as well. Most of my content centers around hot takes on the Sims franchise and general disdain for EA, so I'd love to have you if that's something that you think that you would enjoy. And thank you again to my dedicated Simmers for making today's video possible. You guys are the best. See you all in the next one. Boom.